company. And we specialize in security and life safety systems. We operate in the Pacific Northwest and have extensive experience with many types of multi-site and multi-building environments. And we also partner with world-class manufacturers. Next slide, please. And Absco Solutions has partnered with Motorola Solutions. We're an elite partner with Motorola, and we also are a Safety Reimagined badge partner. Next slide. Some of our key sales and marketing personnel here are noted, and depending on where you're located, one of these sales executives would be your point of contact once you're in touch with us. Next slide. And with that, would like to introduce our guest speaker today, Mr. Art Weeks. Art is the Avigilon Regional Sales Manager for the Pacific Northwest for the video and access control lines. And he will be presenting on the strengths of Avigilon Alta Cloud Security Suite today. And with that, I would like to welcome Art. And Art, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you so much. So certainly a pleasure to be here speaking with all of you today about Avigilon's Alta platform. Absco is absolutely a strong partner of ours, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity to support them as well. Some of the agenda items that we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about security challenges that are taking place in the marketplace, kind of how security is changing. We are going to talk briefly about Avigilon Alta as a comprehensive cloud security suite. Although while focusing strictly on access control today as a part of our discussion, we're going to talk about certain access options, the fact that this is a cloud-based access control solution, and how the cloud and Alta really makes it easy through our open ecosystem to allow customers to do a lot of things that typically are hard to do from an on-premise standpoint. I'm going to run you through a quick demo, so I'm going to have a handful of slides to talk about value and positioning and some of these agenda items. And I'm going to go ahead and share with you our Openpath mobile app today, and then we'll jump in and give you a quick run through on the control center software, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers, okay? So from that, some of the security challenges that certainly are out there, they come in all shapes and sizes, depending on the organization and the market and such, but some of the ones that we've really highlighted here today, I think will resonate with most of the folks that are on the call today, whether folks are being faced with, vandalism issues or unauthorized access or loitering issues, lost or stolen access cards, the impact that can have on an organization, or quite honestly, just the fact that there are still a lot of companies out there that are leveraging outdated technology. And quite honestly, today with cybersecurity attacks and all of those things, that becomes certainly a security challenge that needs to be addressed as well. So we hope that you find some valuable information in our conversation today. We'll go ahead and jump into how security is changing. So security for decades now has been certainly very complex solutions that have been difficult to stand up, difficult to program in a lot of cases, challenging to integrate from adding additional components perspective, whether that's visitor management or biometric systems or video management systems. The challenge has always been that a lot of these systems have been complex to stand up, execute, manage, and administer over the life cycle of the product. If that wasn't bad enough, a lot of the platforms that we see out there, folks are faced with what we would call data overload. There's so much information coming in from these camera systems, intrusion systems, access control systems, that it's hard for folks to really get a good grasp on what's actually happening. And more often than not, it's more of a reactive approach to things by and large. So what we see is that security is changing from that complex, overloaded and closed or difficult integration platform to a simple and secure standard leveraging the cloud, right? Cloud allows us to stand up solutions much quicker. It allows a very simple, easy to administer software application. It also provides the ability for customers to now manage their systems remotely without fear or concerns over security issues. Additionally, cloud and the technology that we deliver certainly takes us out of that reactive mode and into more of a smart, proactive posture, if you will, for customers, and that cameras have not only video analytics that can determine people and vehicles and different types of vehicles as an example, but also things like audio analytics as well that now bring intelligence that typically is not found within the marketplace and really allows us to deliver information that is of the utmost relevance to you at the time at which these events happen. Then certainly lastly here on the far right at the bottom, open and cloud native. So cloud really makes it super simple for products like Avigilon Alta to connect to third-party solutions, whether it's destination dispatch elevators or visitor management or video integration or a whole host of other things. And we'll show you some of those capabilities today through our integrations platform to kind of really hopefully broaden your horizons or your perspective as to how much easier this can actually be. So it's important for me to kind of set the table here. Avigilon Alta is a fairly new name for us. Back in April at the ISC West show, Avigilon took what was previously Ava cloud cameras and Openpath access control and combined them into a marketing name called Avigilon Alta. So the reason why I bring this point up is you'll see on our slide here, these cameras say Ava on them, and I don't want there to be any confusion. Additionally, when I open up my app to walk you through the access control app, it's going to say Openpath on it. Okay, so just know that Avigilon Alta is Avigilon's cloud security suite, combining and unifying both access control and video solutions to provide a simple, smart, open, and future-proof platform for customers to really get the most bang for their buck and quite honestly, excellent results. So let's jump in and talk about the access control piece. So again, Alta is a cloud-based solution. The cloud is going to provide a lot of great features to customers. So no longer are we having to stand up and manage servers or desktop workstations or do software updates or software backups. The cloud provides all of this capability for customers automatically, which really eases a lot of the burden for folks from that perspective. In our world, although, and I'm hoping you can see my camera, although in the majority of the access control industry, people are still using cards and fobs, we bring a mobile first capability to the marketplace, something that's quite unique. You're going to find it kind of amazing today, in that we believe that the mobile phone is the credential of the future. It happens to be, again, in our opinion, the most encrypted or secure device that a person can have on them. And we'll show you some of the cool things in which customers are leveraging mobile within our environment. And certainly from a hardware perspective, it's important to know that we do manufacture all of our own hardware. All of the hardware has a lifetime warranty on it, very robust, very secure. And by manufacturing our own equipment, it gives us complete control over the feature set, warranty, and durability of that solution as well. So some of the integrations that we offer to the marketplace through the Alta platform, such as turnstiles, wireless locks, visitor management systems, video integration, tenant experience, identity services, a whole host of things that typically would be very difficult to stand up on an on-prem system and certainly very expensive. We make that very simple and very easy as we go through this process. So it's important to know that although I mentioned that we are a mobile first technology, we understand that there are certain customers or certain environments where mobile or using your phone may not be most applicable. A good example of that is in the medical or the healthcare field. A lot of those folks want people wearing badges with an identity photo badge on there. Mobile is typically not a thing. So it's important to know that your users have the ability to pick and choose what works best for them. They're going to have the ability to utilize a mobile credential where they can literally walk up to a door, wave their hand, and gain access through the door, or they can use cards or fobs, their Apple Watch, or literally pull out their phone and engage with the system that way. So it's important to know that customers have the utmost flexibility from a credential standpoint. Also good to highlight that when it comes to physical credentials, over here on the right-hand side of the screen, that we only position the industry's most secure technology, and that's called MyFair, which is a global standard. Their latest encryption and security profile is called DesFire EV3. So please know that for those customers that want to leverage cards or fobs, we're going to provide you with a good secure credential that won't be able to be cloned or copied, which certainly is a huge issue in the marketplace as it relates to some of the credentials that still, unfortunately, a large majority of the marketplace uses, and that's called proximity technology. Okay. So we're gonna pause here on this slide for just a minute. So I mentioned that we're a mobile first technology. This slide demonstrates how we're changing the dynamic and how people use and interact with an access control system. Two things that I want to highlight here is first and foremost the value of cloud. Before COVID-19 was a thing for us here globally, we didn't have a way to unlock technology. Our engineers went to work, and 3 weeks later, we pushed out globally to every single OpenPath at the time, OpenPath customer, the ability to wave to unlock. The cool thing about this is customers had to do nothing to enable that. It was a feature set and a functionality that was developed and pushed down without customers having to do anything with it. This is how cloud allows us to continually to enhance and make systems better over time for customers, which is certainly quite different and drastically different from a lot of on-prem systems from that perspective. The other thing that I want to highlight as it relates to this video is you'll notice that in this example, the phone is in the gal's handbag. The app is not open. She doesn't have to grab her phone. Bluetooth is on, so we're using Bluetooth at a minimum to communicate with the system. So she walks up to the door and she waves her hand. If any of you have had experience with other mobile applications or mobile credentials, you kind of understand that it's quite clunky in the marketplace. For those that haven't had the experience, allow me to take 30 seconds to share that with you. The majority of the marketplace today is going to have a person pull out their phone, unlock their phone, open an app, find the door or device that they're looking to engage with, then either rotate their wrist or touch the phone to the reader. Very cumbersome, very clunky, certainly not user-friendly. This is where we're changing the dynamic significantly. So important to know that although we utilize Bluetooth as our communication medium of choice, we understand that Bluetooth is not 100% reliable, which is why we went ahead and patented what we call triple unlock technology. So that every time a user engages with a reader, we're actually sending 3 signals simultaneously, Wi-Fi, cellular, and Bluetooth, to get us from that 94 to 96 reliability rating of Bluetooth up to basically 99.99%. So important to know that folks are going to have fast, reliable access through doors and devices without having any issues compared to other Bluetooth-only solutions. So cloud done right. Really what we're speaking to here is that cloud, again, as I mentioned earlier, allows us to deliver a much easier to use software interface for customers to be able to manage their system. It also introduces the ability to lower total cost on these systems over time, from going from a capital expense to more of a subscription-based operational expense model, knowing full well that subscription is going to get you a lifetime warranty on hardware, all of those software updates without having to do anything about that, is certainly as well as backups and things like that. It's a good opportunity for me at this point to share with you that we do use Amazon Web Services as our cloud hosting provider, and we have 2 data centers that support our US customers, one in the state of Oregon and one in Virginia, if that's important to you. Certainly, the other thing that's important to know is that scalability. When we're leveraging cloud as our solution here, it allows customers to scale up or scale down without having to worry about IT infrastructure. Multiple sites or additional remote sites are easy to now connect and pull into one unified software environment. Cloud really simplifies the process from beginning to end for those customers that are managing their access control systems. Second to the last slide here, open ecosystem. So really what we're speaking to here is that yes, OpenPath makes our own hardware. We've got a whole host of different reader technologies, as well as video readers and a cool video intercom solution. But know that there are customers certainly that have existing systems that are migrating, that may be using industry standard Wiegand readers. We can absolutely utilize those. We can also absolutely utilize other IoT type devices, whether they be environmental sensors or the like. As well as certainly biometric readers, wireless locks, and other sorts of capabilities there. Okay, so it's important to know that even from a hardware standpoint, very open and flexible. So easy integrations. I mentioned this earlier. Here's just a couple of the icons here that represent the products and platforms. We will show you this in the Control Center software today, but everything from access control based add-ons to sensors, identity management, visual dashboards, and things like that. Leveraging our open API and software development kit for those companies that maybe you happen to work with today or utilize within your organization that we don't have a current integration to. Know that we do offer that tool set at no charge to allow integration into the platform. Okay. So that kind of concludes the quick run through of the slide deck. What I'd like to do now is to go ahead and share my mobile phone with you via my screen here and show you the Again, it's going to be called OpenPath, but it's Avigilon Alta. We're going to show you that the mobile app experience and walk you through a couple of key examples here. Okay, so just a moment here as I pull up this piece of software. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, great. So again, from my desktop, let me go ahead and take this back. Let's go ahead and try to maximize this. Looks like that's as large as it's going to get. So again, you'll see that our app is still labeled as OpenPath. Again, it's part of the Avigilon Alta platform. What I like to highlight from an app perspective, folks, is probably 4 or 5 things here. And that first and foremost, in the upper left-hand corner is our hamburger menu, so that if at any time we needed to view activity related to where I've been as an example, all I have to do is touch that. It's going to show me a 24-hour history of all the activity that I've been involved with here through the Alta system. You'll also notice that, which is pretty powerful, is that we actually put help or service right in the palm of the hand of each and every user. So if a customer is having an issue out in the field, something's not quite working right, know that literally through their mobile phone, they can go ahead and request help, whether that be through an internal help assistance, a call desk, if you will, from the organization standpoint, or certainly drilling out to the fine folks at Absco to get assistance from that perspective as well. One of the other key things that we offer is we do offer free badging. So you'll see here that we have the ability to create badges. We can have as many templates as you'd like in here. You'll see that I've created a very basic one. Fantastic for those companies that maybe want to leverage identity badges, but don't want to go through the cost of physically printing cards, especially if you've got a high turnover and things of that nature. It's very difficult to amend and adjust badge templates. In our world, we can add additional images, data fields, and dynamically everybody's got an updated photo badge. So know that that's a standard feature of the product. We also have the ability to view any and all doors and devices that I have permission to view and engage with through this application. And I also have the ability to create a list of favorites, ones that maybe I use on a regular basis. What's fantastic is that creating a favorite is as easy as clicking on the triangle to the right of a door or device and literally just toggling the radio button here. And now that door or device would show up in my favorites list. Now, it's important to understand that although we're showing a list of doors here, this is not going to be the main way that you engage and interact with the system, right? You're going to walk up your hand, bump your elbow, use a card or a fob, but this becomes. I'm not seeing.
We're not seeing your screen anymore.
Oh, have mercy.
Sorry, folks, give us just a second to get back to Art sharing the screen.
Still showing. Oh, he's disconnected.
Okay. Oh.
There it goes.
Okay.
Here we are.
There we
Entire screen. Thank you so much. My apologies, folks.
And now we need your screen back.
There we go.
Okay, great. All right. Hey, you know what? It wouldn't be a demo or webinar without something kind of going weird. That's just how things work. So anyway, so what I was sharing, let me take 2 steps back real quick. So the hamburger menu up here to the left is what I was referring to early on, being able to view an activity log if need be of an individual, the last 24 hours of activity, or additionally being able to put help resources in the palm of the hand of the user from this selector here. And then back over here with the doors and devices I was talking about as far as creating favorites versus viewing all doors and devices in the system. And so what I was sharing is that you're not going to come in here and be utilizing and touching buttons to unlock doors for yourself. But where this comes in very handy is, let's say you have a coworker that's left their badge in the car, they're running late, or they left a badge at home. Nice to be able to take a quick phone call from that person and literally be able to drive an unlock command as easy as pushing a button like this. And the door to the left of me here just unlocks. So know that by and large, you're not going to leverage this for your day-to-day use, but great for being able to remote release people through the system. Down here at the bottom, we've got the ability to view cameras. So we didn't go into great detail, but in that slide that showed the multiple readers that we have, Avigilon Alta has a video reader that takes a multi-tech reader with a 5-megapixel on-bib compatible camera built into it. For those customers that want to be able to view live video through their mobile phone, or through their desktop interface. What's fantastic about this is that literally wherever I am in the world, I can view live video of what's happening. I can see activity that's taking place on that door device, and I can certainly do remote unlocks if need be from this view as well. You'll see that down below here, and I won't go into it, but same basic view. This is our video intercom for those customers that want to have a secure closed campus and want to have a visitor intercom application. Same basic premise. We've got a camera that's going to call up, we're going to have a conversation with people and remote release them through the door. Okay. The feature that I certainly do want to show you, because there's great value, is called our guest pass. So one of the challenges that customers have, most if not all customers, is how do I easily and effectively provide permissions to my facility for folks that are outside of our organization, whether that's a vendor, a contractor, a community group that's coming in to utilize maybe conference room space. The guest pass is the best and easiest way to do that. So what we do is we provide the ability to issue those permissions right here through the mobile phone and certainly through the web page. But here's what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and just send this to myself again so that I can show this to you on the screen. I give the guest pass a name because when people utilize the guest pass, I have the ability to go report on it and see how many times they actually used that guest pass. So you'll see here that it has identified today's date, the current time, and I'm going to share the Seattle entrance, which is just sitting to my left, which I don't believe you can see. And so here's how this works. I'm going to go ahead and share access. You'll see that I can share this access via an airdrop. So if the person that I'm sharing access with, if we're out to lunch and they have an iPhone, I can literally, through the clear air, drop this message on them. I can send it via text, email, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's a hyperlink, right? So there's a multitude of ways I can send this information to an individual. I'm going to go ahead and send it via email because I find that to be the easiest. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send this guest pass to myself. I'm going to hit the go button in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, that guest pass has now been delivered. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here to my email. Okay, there's the guest pass that has come in here. You'll see that what we provide is a hyperlink in the middle or of the body of that email. All I have to do when I get to the building is open that, drive that hyperlink. Okay. So then what happens is when we click the hyperlink, it brings us to a page of the door in which I've shared with those individuals. It could be one door at one location, multiple doors, or multiple locations. Now all I have to do is drive the blue button here, and I'm going to be quiet so you can hear the unlock. Okay. Fantastic way to be able to issue permissions to people from outside the organization simply and easily without having to create users in a piece of software. Okay. Let's come back in here. The last thing that I want to show you from an app perspective is that we do have the ability to drive lockdown or altered conditions from the mobile app as well. I won't show you this because it takes a few minutes for the reader to time out, but essentially it's important for you to know that we can go from normal to not normal literally by just clicking a button here on the mobile app. And it's also important to know that it doesn't have to necessarily be a lockdown event or a critical emergency event. We could be enabling a special schedule, or maybe the basketball game that happens on a Wednesday night, potentially at a school environment, as an example. A whole host of ways that we can leverage lockdown from a mobile perspective to provide some cool facilitation of the access control system. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and pull this back, and we're going to jump into, yeah, we'll do that survey later. We're going to now come back in here and let's jump into the control center environment. I'm doing good on time, I believe. So the Avigilon Alta control centers, this is our web GUI for the access control piece. What you'll find is over here on the left-hand side, very logical order as to how we interact with this system. We're going to talk about dashboards today. Managing users is very simple here. Our app marketplace for all those cool integrations that we have, I'll show you that today. And then also certainly access control reports. Okay, so that's going to be kind of the high level walkthrough from that perspective. So from a dashboard piece, we do provide multiple dashboards natively for you, an activity dashboard, an alarm dashboard, entry and device. Essentially, the activity dashboard, folks, is going to show you activity that's happening within the access control system. You'll see that where we have video evidence tied to those transactions, it does provide me literally a one mouse click link here to go ahead and pull up and begin viewing video tied to that particular transaction. So again, simple, easy, seamless to be able to view video tied to those events, all within this one graphical user interface here. From a alarm dashboard perspective, this is a recent thing. We actually brought this to market here about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Again, customers didn't have to do anything to have this feature enabled. And now it allows us and allows customers to manage and track alarms that happen within the system, and certainly to be able to drive notifications and other events so that people know that we're in an alarm state, whether that be denied credentials or other capabilities, okay? Very helpful is certainly the entry dashboard. This is going to show all the doors and devices within our ecosystem. It's going to, again, provide the ability to share if the door is locked or open. It's going to provide me the ability to unlock that door remotely here. You'll see that this one is grayed out, means that I don't have access to from a permission standpoint to engage with that particular door. And you'll see that we also do show recent video clips tied to transactions by particular people from within this entry dashboard. As we move down into the device dashboard, this is super powerful because typically anytime that we have an issue with on-prem systems, things don't work, they're offline. It means getting people in vehicles and rolling to sites to begin looking at things in our world with the value of cloud. It means that now I can have a dashboard that shows me if I have devices or readers or other things that are offline or not communicating. You'll see that we make it very easy through color coding down here. Green meaning good, red meaning that we have an issue. And it allows us to go ahead and restart these services remotely. All right, so think about that. A reader goes offline, we've got some panel that goes offline. We don't have to get in our vehicle and go anywhere. Our first action should be to log into Control Center. Let's restart the services and see if we get things back online. Very cool capability to be able to do this remotely. Again, whether that's something that you do yourself or if the fine folks at Absco are maintaining and managing your system for you, they have the ability to do this as well. Lastly, from a dashboard standpoint, is the ability for customers to create their own custom dashboard. We understand that there are certain users within organizations that have different dynamics or different use cases, if you will. You'll see that this is my particular dashboard. In my demo world, I have 3 different locations. I have Portland, Oregon, which is at home, Seattle, which is sitting to my left, and Anchorage, which is at home as well. To me, I wanted to very quickly be able to drive an unlock command for the main entry doors and a visitor entrance door at the Portland location, employee entrance and main entrance in Seattle, and server room and main entrance in Anchorage. So being able to create these quick links to unlock doors through the dashboard is certainly very helpful. We also have the ability over here to the right to drive those lockdown events like I could do through the mobile phone as well. And you'll see here that I have the view to be able to pull up that Video Reader Pro that we talked about earlier, as far as being able to view activity through that camera, provide unlock requests, and the like. Okay, and then we have an activity feed down here. What's cool about this is that customers can come in and we have what we call widgets. So if I click on the pencil, we can literally add a widget. We've got 8, 9, 10, 11 different widgets that can be added, everything from occupancy tracking to unlocking doors, driving a lockdown, whatever the case may be. Customers can actually go and create their own custom environment, which is quite nice. So let's talk about user management. So it's important to know that, again, I talked about this being an easy to use software platform. I'm going to actually go through the motions of enrolling a user for you to show you just how quickly this can be. There are 3 different ways to get people into our system. We can do it manually, one at a time, which is what I'm going to do right at this moment by clicking on the plus sign over here to add a user. Because we are a mobile first technology, the most important information that we need based on a person is their email address. So I'm going to create Sally at Yahoo. Okay, and her name is going to be Sally and her last name is going to be Yahoo, so that I can be sure and keep track of her. So email address, first name, last name. I click save. Sally's just been added to the system. The next thing that we need to do is to add a credential. So when I click on credentials, you'll see that I've got the ability to issue a mobile credential, which is what we're going to do. I also have the ability to issue permissions to this person to do that guest pass if we want them to. Excuse me, and we can certainly add physical cards or PIN codes as well. Adding a mobile credential is as easy as this. I'm going to go ahead and call this Sally's phone. And I'm going to go ahead and click save. To send Sally her mobile credential, all I have to do is click on the orange button. Sally's going to get an email from me that says, hey, welcome to Alta. Sorry, I almost said Openpath there. Welcome to Alta. Please go to the Google Play Store or the iTunes Store, download the Openpath app. In that download process, we encrypt that mobile credential in that process. And then now Sally has a mobile credential so she can come onto property, wave her hand, bump her elbow, and other things. Now, the last thing that we need to do is we've created Sally, we've just issued her a mobile credential. We now need to provide her access within our organization. So it's important to know, you'll see here that looks like I've used Sally in the past. So we can absolutely use access control groups, or we can do things individually. So if Sally's part of our IT team, I can come in here and I can type in IT, and I can say, well, you know what, Sally's going to need access to Portland and Seattle as an example, as kind of a regional IT resource for us. All I have to do is click save, and now we're done. So adding people individually is very smooth and simple from that perspective. The second way to add people to the system is via a CSV file. So what's magical about this is that we can import up to 500 people per CSV file to make that very simple and efficient for you. And we can also have the system right here where it says send setup email. The cloud platform will send all 500 of those people an email message to onboard their mobile credential themselves without us having to do it manually, which is super powerful. The third way to get people into the system is we're going to jump down here to our app marketplace. And that's through an identity synchronization service. So you'll see here that today we integrate with Microsoft Azure, Active Directory in the cloud, Google Workspace, Okta, OneLogin, or Workday. There are two different timing mechanisms. So once an hour or once every 15 minutes. So we felt it was important to provide customers the flexibility to be able to synchronize that information as quickly as needed, okay? Now, while we're in here, because I'm running short on time, is I'm going to scroll down and show you some of the other integrations that we have while we're in the App Store. So you'll see that here's visitor management. We literally have 12 different visitor management apps that we're already integrated with. If I'm not sure what this particular brand does, very much like going to the store on our mobile devices, I click on it, and it's going to give me a quick description of Envoy in this case, what some of the highlights are, and a quick link to that particular company to get more information. Video management, tenant experiences for property management, building owners, wireless lock integrations, occupancy tracking. We're not going to go through all these folks, but there's well in excess of like 60 in here, and it's growing all the time. Lastly, what I would share with you is that from a reporting standpoint, we're not going to dive into this. Know that we can create as many custom reports as you want to. We can schedule them to happen automatically, whether that's activity based on a particular user, where has this user been, or activity based on a door or a site, all completely in play for you from that perspective. So with that, this kind of concludes the quick PowerPoint run through, the mobile app run through, and the control center environment. So from here, I believe we're going to bounce back and we're going to go into saying thank you, certainly, for your time, and beginning our question and answer session.
Thank you, everybody, for attending. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask Art? He gave us a lot of information.
Hey, Art, it's Morgan. Curious, can you go into the wireless lock interface at all?
I did not. So there is not a separate wireless lock interface.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought I saw that on the widget screen. My bad.
Well, no, there's an integration, sir. There's an integration, but that just allows us to connect to, in that case, the Schled cloud to pull those wireless locks into our control center environment.
Okay.
Hey, Art, it's Chad. Thanks again. What, in your experience, has been the biggest deciding factors for people? I mean, we've been in an on-prem world for access control so long that I think cloud is still a little bit sweaty palms and nervous, from especially probably IT directors and people who maybe they're starting to trust the cloud more and more. But for access control, how would you address that if someone wasn't so sure about cloud being a reliable or a secure solution?
Yeah, so great question. So certainly we have reached and exceeded the tipping point as it relates to cloud within the security industry. So some of the key things that I'm hearing, and it's interesting because IT professionals are like, hey, I'm trying to drive as many servers out of my ecosystem as I can because I'm tired of managing them, not only from a labor and manpower perspective, but from a cost perspective as well. Additionally, the ability and the concerns over remote management is a big deal, right? Cloud, by providing remote capability to users, there aren't any of the security issues that happen when IT people have to open up firewall ports or do port forwarding and things of that nature. So what I'm finding, Chad, sorry, is that we're seeing it not only from IT being a big push to ease their load, to make their life better, but to also simplify the lives of the users, to have a simpler interface, a different cost structure that ends up being lower total cost of ownership. And quite honestly, when you look at the state of Washington, where we're at, the state of Washington has put a mandate out that entities other than corrections facilities and certain higher educations, they're driving people to the cloud. So I think that we've kind of gone over the tipping point, and the use case can be different from customer to customer, but I'm seeing it in corporate America, I'm seeing it in healthcare, certainly in education. There are certain verticals that we're never going to see cloud. Corrections, probably government stuff, right? Military. But by and large, the rest of the bulk of the market, they're driving for it. We're seeing exponential growth here. And what's funny, if I may, just to add on to that, is when you talk to people about all of the other things, cloud is involved in everything that we do. If you're streaming Netflix, if you've got a Gmail account, right? As you kind of break it down, we're all so reliant on cloud already that I don't think there's a huge barrier, except for in some of those certain marketplaces or certain types of businesses.
Yeah. And if you were to compare the video side of the house, where there are literally thousands of manufacturers of video cameras, VMS systems, we're all in that world as well. And I think our audience here is well aware of that as well. Where does Openpath or the Alta brand fit in that? Is it a if I'm looking at 15 or 5 different solutions, I saw the value proposition from an ease of use, that wave to unlock without having to mess with my cell phone. Those are big deals, in my opinion. Anything else that you would share with people who are looking at solutions out there? Maybe some of these engineers and architects that are on the phone when they're looking at multiple options. What else would you say to elevate why Ava, why Openpath, why Alta?
So great question. Thank you for that. So certainly what's interesting and very apparent in the marketplace right now is when it comes to cloud-based solutions, there are really there seem to be two different positions or tactics being played. You have those companies that are leveraging their own unique proprietary cameras connected to their own unique cloud, access control of the like, right? So kind of that closed or walled off garden approach to things, which in my humble opinion, I don't really agree with, because I think customers need to have options. So understanding that there's a very proprietary piece of the cloud. And then when you look at what we're doing from a Alta perspective, let's start with video, right? So we make all of our own cameras. All the cameras have got wonderful video analytics and audio analytics built into there. They're all non-proprietary on-VIF compatible cameras, meaning let's say you deploy a system in the cloud, a couple of years go by and you're like, you know what, maybe this just isn't for me. Whereas with other proprietary solutions, you're literally going to take the camera down and throw it away because it can't play with any other system. Our Alta camera can then be pivoted into an on-prem, on-VIF compatible VMS system, whether that's Avigilon or another brand. So that is huge. And then on the access side, we would pivot and share a similar kind of arms wide open position, more from the integration side. Again, the proprietary folks have got typically a limited number of people that they play with because they really want to captivate the customer. They want to make it hard for that customer to move. Whereas for us, we've got all these integrations already in play. So I think it's open, flexible, and current technology, I think would be the 3 things that I would bring it back home to.
Agreed. Thank you.
Art, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So considering that we're utilizing the internet as the primary means of supporting the cloud application and approach, what sort of other considerations are being made in the designs of these solutions to support when there's intermittency with the internet in terms of being able to utilize it, and I have an interruption in my internet service or some challenge occurs like that. Are there any particular things being considered from the Motorola side and the way the application functions so as to provide some mechanism in the interim that still allows me access to my subsystems?
Yeah, it's a great question, Ed. So interesting. So for those customers that are concerned about internet outages or connectivity scenarios, we are seeing that some folks are standing up a secondary internet connection line through their service provider to provide an alternate path, if you will, to cloud if need be, whether that's cellular or a different land-based provider. But important to know that from a user perspective on site, so if we take the Alta access control solution, and if the internet goes down right now, all of the users within my community, they're still waving their hand, they're doing their thing, right? They know that nothing is different. What we do lose, to your point, sir, is the ability to go in and add somebody, right? That administration side, that is going to be kind of not available to us. So what we're seeing, Ed, is that those folks that are hypercritical or focused on that are going to stand up a secondary path to cloud. But by and large, that's been a very small subset of people thus far.
Art, we have a question on
Yes,
our
ma'am.
chat. Says, I saw examples of iOS. Do you have integrations with Android OS devices?
Absolutely. So our OpenPath app is available. Again, it will be called Alta eventually, but it's called OpenPath today. Available on the iTunes Store and the Google Play Store. So yes, across both of those prominent platforms. Absolutely. And let's also add on to that. So from a browser perspective, any browser that you like to use is totally fine. From Microsoft Edge to Safari to Chrome to Firefox, completely wide open there too.
One additional question, Art. I know that we didn't go into detail about the reporting capabilities of the system. Maybe you could just give a brief summary of that, since we didn't touch on it in detail today, just for the folks on the call.
Sure. So within our reporting capability, we've got everything from what we would call an activity log, which is, in my mind, is if I get a call right now and I need to do a quick report on the last 1 hour, 4 hours, or 12 hours of activity, I can quickly grab that user and door-based activity, administrator activity as well. I can also go in and do credential reporting, so I can look and see how many mobile or physical credentials we have, some that are maybe have been lost or stolen. So know that we've got that capability. We also have the alarm reporting. So if I want to go in and generate reports based on alarm activity, we have also what we call our visual activity reports. This is kind of interesting, where if we have a large segment of our doors and devices that are covered, or covered by video cameras, Alta cameras, I can actually go run a report based on those activities and actions that have video tied to them. So rather than generating a general event list and trying to find the ones where there is a video link, we can just go right to the video evidence report and do that. And then there's also a mustering report that's brand new. So literally everything from finding stuff very quickly to user-based things, to credential-based reports, to mustering alarms and video-based events, it's all there. And again, with the ability for you to create custom reports that can be scheduled to happen automatically. And that's really important because a lot of customers do have, in my humble estimation, 3 to 5 reports that they like to see regularly, whether it's, hey, who was in my building last week, or maybe it's an audit or compliance type thing. All of those tools are in there for you.
Thank you, Art.
Yes, sir.
Somebody have another question?
Hi, Art. Is it long time no see?
Hi, is it?
Hi. I'm wondering what your great, and are you seeing people actually make on-prem?
Susan, you're breaking up really badly. Do you want to type that in the chat real quick?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Everybody, while we're waiting for Susan to get her question in, if anyone else has a question, I will also point out that I did put in our chat a link to our event survey. We at Absco and Art from Avigilon would love your feedback. So if you have a moment towards the end of the webinar to click on that link and give us a little feedback, we'd sincerely appreciate it.
There we go.
Mark has one. Can we describe the local control interface in terms of power reliability? Is this a distributed intelligence setup?
Yes, so it is a distributed intelligence setup, and I don't know that you're going to be able to see this, sir, but this is the back of the,
You know what, Art?
and
Unmute yourself there, and I'm going to mute us and see if we can get your camera picking up.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to work.
No, sorry.
Okay, but you folks, my video is up there.
You want me to put it in front of this? Because I'm not showing your video, it's showing ours.
Yeah, here, let's do this. Let's unplug it. There you go. So to your point, sir. So yes, it is distributed intelligence. Thank you. So the small little board on the bottom there that Jen is holding, that is called our core board. That contains all the programming information needed to support what's available is 2 boards connected to it. So from a distributed standpoint, yes, very much like we would do with a distributed architecture from an on-prem scenario. We're going to have clusters of hardware controlled by these core boards so that, again, if the internet goes out, everything that's deployed has got the capability to continue functioning as it's been programmed to do, obviously with the limitation of doing administrative stuff.
And Art, can I comment about the SDC? That it's a very impressive dual door controller that's PoE tethered from a switch. And it also has a complete operable database that it references in that same light.
Yeah, thank you, Ed. So although we didn't get a chance to go through the parts and pieces, would be happy to do a secondary session with you. But yeah, our single door controller is a fantastic device. It looks very much like a Mac Mini, if you will. And what's powerful about it is it actually has the ability to support 2 complete openings. It's got physical LAN connections on it. It's got PoE connections on it. It's got Wi-Fi on it. Just a very easy, flexible solution, whether it be the small 1 or 2 door application or the remote 1 or 2 door application where it's not conducive or cost effective to drag wire across the warehouse or something like that.
There's Susan.
There's Susan.
What has been your success rate with customers switching from on-prem to cloud, especially if they have a recently purchased on-prem solution?
Yeah, so certainly the recently purchased scenario, that's always going to be a tough one, and understandably, right? The access control systems are not inexpensive to deploy, right? Truth be told, the control hardware can be from mild to wild cost-wise, and the labor to install these things adds up to. So what I'm finding is new installs, I'm not really seeing a bunch of people that have bought a system within a year or 2 rip all that stuff out and kind of go a different direction. But what I am seeing dynamically is folks that have had systems for 5, 6, 7 years or better going, wow, technology has come a long way. I want to be able to use my phone. I don't want to have to deal with these servers, and I want to be able to access my system anywhere. Those are the folks that we're seeing the high churn or turnover as far as folks that have existing systems. Chad and I were just with a client here a couple of weeks ago when I was in Spokane, an entity that we thought for sure was going to be an on-prem scenario. IT guy within the first 5 minutes goes, I'm trying to drive servers out of here. I want to go cloud. Cool. Okay. So it's literally, in my opinion, I think the conversation needs to be had with each and every customer, if nothing else, just to make them educated and aware. Because I think education is a big part of what we all do here, is just to let the organizations or the customers know, as what I refer to as the game, right? There are gotchas out there, things to be aware of, things to be mindful of. And so I think those conversations are good to have, so the customer can really choose what's best for them.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
So as far as a realistic workflow flow through a facility that has this deployed, I'm guessing people are going to wonder, well, hey, we all have cell phones. How do we deal with anti-pass back? How do we deal with tailgating? How do we deal with these scenarios where I want to record individuals coming through, but 15 people are coming through the same door at the same time? How do you address that?
Yeah, so really a couple ways that we can do that. Certainly having, for those doors or areas of a building where that's a concern, we do have a great integration with a company, and their name is escaping me right now, so I apologize. But they make this cool little device that sits literally above a door, like a request to exit device, that will actually monitor and create an alarm event if more than one person goes through on a valid transaction. So there's certainly tools and mechanisms and integrated solutions that we can leverage to do that. The other piece too would be our Alta video cameras. And understanding, right, they understand who people are and such. And so we could certainly set some dynamics probably and some rules to address it that way. What's interesting though is I don't believe, and again, it may be in there. I've not looked or dealt with any passback stuff at this point yet, Chad. So it certainly may be in the platform, but truth be told, I'm not 100% sure. But I know as far as just documenting and figuring when more than one person goes through the door, we do have some solutions to hopefully aid and assist there.
Can you control the range of the read on the readers to minimize distance?
I love you, buddy. You're great. So yes, it's important to know that we have the ability to set what I call the security posture of every single door and device within the ecosystem. So everything that I've talked about today is wave to unlock, and that's what we call our convenience mode. There may be applications or areas within a given building where that is not good enough. So know that we put in the power of our partners, Absco, and the customer, the ability to literally address the wave distance, the Bluetooth beacon range, and what I would call the security posture, meaning that we may have some high security areas where in the past, as an example, a client may do a reader and then a secondary biometric reader for kind of that two-factor authentication. In our world, I can do two-factor authentication through the mobile phone because the first factor is the phone leveraging my bio, my fingerprint, or my PIN code to unlock the phone, and then secondarily driving a physical touch to the reader. So to your point, Chad, yes, we do have the ability to set what I would call a security posture, literally door to door to door, and the ability to change that security posture based on a schedule. There may be certain applications, like the one that I always use in my on-prem discussions is after hours, I always want two factors of authentication on all perimeter doors outside, just in case somebody drops a card or a fob in the parking lot. Well, we can certainly have this system say that during business hours, it reacts this way. And after business hours, it reacts completely different. Completely customizable and changeable, literally on the fly. Never seen an on-prem system that allows us to do this, by the way. Pretty powerful.
Beautiful, thanks.
Yes, sir. Great questions, by the way. You guys are being awesome.
Art, would you throw up the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
And I know we're getting close to time, so I just want to make sure folks know if they have not, we do have the survey link in chat. You can go there to fill that out. And next slide.
Yes, ma'am.
I love this. He calls me ma'am. It's like I'm official. If any of you are interested or would like to get more information, please feel free to reach out to us at either your account executive or at salessupport@absco.com. And we'd be happy to hook you up with your exec here. And if we need to bring Art out to do a one-on-one and talk about your specific situation, we'd love to do that. And last slide for us. And if you enjoyed the webinar today, we'd love to invite you to our next webinar in September, we are going to have Motorola Avigilon back with us. Mr. Jeremy Downs will be joining us to do a deep dive into Avigilon video analytics and AI, and hopefully get a lot of questions answered about how you can really use those analytics for your business. And that is all we have. Thank you all very much. If anyone has any other questions and you want to hang on for a second, you're more than welcome, or to put it in the chat or send us an email. We'd love to make sure you get all the information you need.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate your time.